Well, these are breaking inputs. We're getting you the latest shots that are coming in from outside the SSKM Hospital here. It's important to note that the Chief Minister, Mamata Banerjee, could be stepping out any time because the latest bulletin, the medical bulletin report was out with the hospital saying that there is an improvement in her ankle injury. The hospital here also added that they were wanting to keep the Chief Minister under further observation here, but the Chief Minister herself has insisted on being discharged. So she wants to be back on the campaign trail immediately here, but the hospital also warning that she shouldn't perform any strenuous activities. So this is the latest that we're playing out, coming in right from outside the SSKM Hospital. And there she's being wheeled out on a wheelchair here. Remember, the hospital has said that she's fine, but they were not in favor of an immediate discharge here. It is the Chief Minister's insistence that she now be discharged from hospital. She's, of course, with hands folded to people and supporters who have gathered in outside the hospital. She's being taken in directly into her vehicle as we speak. These are live shots coming in from outside the SSKM Hospital in Kolkata, where she was rushed to immediately right after that attack, alleged attack took place there in Nandigram. She has been receiving treatment, has of course undergone a battery of tests here in other minor injuries that were reported as well. But essentially it is her right foot that was impacted the most, which is still under plaster. Let's also tell you what else the hospital here has stated, making it very clear that the Chief Minister should not be performing any strenuous activities. Physical movement of hers will have to be restricted here. But Mamata Banerjee herself choosing to step out. Remember, she had released a video just yesterday. It was the first time that one had seen her speak. And this was right from soon after the accident and right from the hospital bed. She had spoken, saying that warning her political opponents here that she will be back on the campaign trail, even if it meant campaigning on a wheelchair. And this is what we've seen as she's literally been wheeled out of hospital. She's not off the
there
wheelchair.
You see Mamata Banerjee
she's not in a position to be walking around here. My colleague Ranadeep is getting us.
Friday evening, and Mamata Banerjee, the SSKM Hospital, the same place where she was brought 2 days back at around 9 o'clock on Wednesday evening, and 2 days later, around 48 hours later, she has now been discharged from the hospital. Mamata Banerjee had suffered injury on her ankle, and the doctors said, even though the latest medical bulletin suggests that she needs a couple of restrictions, and the restrictions have to be followed, but then the doctors are claiming that she insisted that she be discharged, and thus she has been discharged from the hospital today, which also indicates that from Sunday onwards she will be getting back to political activities. On Sunday she will be releasing the manifesto of Trinamool Congress for the all-important election, and thereafter Monday onwards we have been given to understand that she would be back in action, back in political action, do public meetings, but possibly on a wheelchair. Mamata Banerjee came out of this hospital on a wheelchair, the cast on the left foot clearly visible, and now she is heading back home, and thereafter she would be resting for the day. There had been no other activities kept for her for the day, but then there had been anticipation building all through the day as whether she would be released, if she would be released, and now that she has left, she was also greeted by her supporters who all came here and cheered for Mamata Banerjee, because it was a moment they were all waiting for, and they were waiting to see her to leave the hospital premises, something that she has done right now.
Times Network's Tamal Saha has been getting us those details from outside hospital here, and the left foot injury, as you can see, is still very much there. It's still under plaster here, and it will remain for the coming days here as well. Our correspondent Ronodeep as well, who's been getting us further details here on this. Ronodeep, this is of course with respect to the hospital having made it very clear that they wanted her under observation, but it was on her insistence that she leave. She wants to be back on the election campaign trail, and just as she has warned that she would be back even if it meant being on the wheelchair, I guess this is what we're going to be seeing in the days to come. She would still be on the wheelchair here because she still has those injuries. It's still on plaster, her left foot.
Well, it's absolutely. The doctors clearly mentioned that the medical board had decided to keep her for 48 more hours in the hospital, but after repeated requests from the CM, she was finally discharged because she clearly wanted to get back into the poll fray, and that now, once the doctors have discharged her, the doctors have clearly mentioned that she has been given appropriate instructions about the kind of restrictions that she'll have to go through, and there will be no strenuous activities that she can undertake, or maybe non-weight lifting, everything she can do, but no kind of weightlifting will be allowed for her, and that the hematoma has decreased in size in her foot, and that a fresh plaster has been put after the previous plaster was taken off earlier this morning by the doctors, and the doctors are multiple times reiterating the fact that she has responded very well to the treatment. And earlier today, the board members had opened the plaster and put a new plaster so that they can release Mamata Banerjee, although they were not very keen on releasing her right now and keeping her in observation for 48 more hours. But she insisted on the fact that she is released today itself so that she can get back to the poll fray. And now you can clearly see visuals of her living on a wheelchair from the SSKM Hospital in Kolkata and going back to her house.